we're going to move that to the front. So at this moment, we're going to talk about, let's adopt a resolution of opposition to the San Diego Gas and Electric Golden Pacific Powerlink project and receive status updates on the city's efforts to oppose the project and provide information about city impacts to San Diego Gas Electric, California Independent System Operator, and California Public Utility Commission. I believe our city manager, Aaron Adams, is going to kick that right off.
Yes, I will. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, members of the public. I'm pleased to provide an update to the public and to you on City of Temecula's actions to oppose SDGE's Golden Pacific Powerlink project and everything that's happened since the May 26th City Council meeting 7 weeks ago. You will recall at the May 26th Council meeting, every seat was taken in these chambers, in our overflow, conference center, and outside. The commitment was clearly made by the Temecula City Council and our community to oppose SDGE's Golden Pacific Powerlink project alignment through the City of Temecula. The City Council directed me as the city manager to bring back a resolution of opposition, to provide information periodically to the City Council, all the meetings, and to utilize broad authority to oppose SDGE's project based on information that is known to the city. The first course of action is in your agenda packet. That is the resolution of the City Council that confirms the city's opposition to the Golden Pacific Powerlink project as currently proposed through the City of Temecula and the Temecula Valley. I will spare reading all 5 pages of the proposed resolution, but it identifies numerous concerns associated with the proposed alignment of SDGE's transmission lines, including those listed on this slide and the next slide. It is also important to know that we are able to bring this resolution back to the City Council anytime with more issues we discover or new and updated language throughout the process of opposing this project's alignment through Temecula if desired by the Council. In addition to the opposition resolution, the second directive by the City Council made at the May 26th Council meeting is to bring updates, information periodically to the City Council meetings. So, beginning today, we are placing this topic on the City Council agenda at every City Council meeting for the foreseeable future. This provides an opportunity for the City Council to discuss the project together and provide direction to staff as needed. It also provides transparency to the public, which is critical for a project that of this magnitude and immense community concern. A reminder to the public, this probably goes without saying, but the city will not share information that is attorney-client privilege or attorney work product. In the end, the city's opposition to our Temecula route will be actively litigated before the California Public Utilities Commission and, if necessary, the Court of Appeal. The third directive by the City Council made at the May 26th Council meeting granted me, as the city manager, broad authority to oppose the proposed alignment of SDGE's Golden Pacific Powerlink project based on information that was known to the city. As such, we are mobilizing all evidence and every legal argument and legal remedy available to defend our community from this dangerous and devastating project. I'd like to pause and thank Peter Thorson and Richard Watson and Gershon for his and his firm's ongoing, nonstop, 24/7 legal support and his invaluable experience since this project landed in our lap mid-April. Thank you, Peter. Also, through Peter's connection, he deserves a standing O, but we'll save that for later. Also, through Peter's connections, the city has secured Downey Brand, a law firm that is renowned for its specialized energy division with attorneys who have extensive experience representing clients before the CPUC, the California Energy Commission, and the California Independent System Operator. Those who know the public utility sector will recognize Michael Day, who has successfully represented a wide variety of cases before the California Public Utilities Commission, including Chino Hills. We've secured the most experienced CPUC attorneys who are well-versed in energy and public utility law. The sample list of experts on the screen may expand as needed. The attorney-client and work product privileges apply to our experts, contracted via attorney-client privilege clauses. Information that is not attorney-client privileged and that may be informative to the community will be published on the city's webpage on the screen. This webpage continues to grow and will be the central source where the public can find documents that we can share. In recent developments and in somewhat chronological order since the May 26th council meeting, the next slides will share some key meetings and some updates. On June 2nd, the mayor and staff, we met with CPUC Public Affairs. The information provided was general, and the key points shared with us are on the screen. SDGE is expected to file a Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity, or CPCN, later this year. It will be important to participate in the public scoping sessions and the public workshops. The city will join as an official party or intervener to the project along with other entities. The CPUC Public Affairs encourages fact-based concerns and evidence for its technical review, which of course the city understands. Public Affairs emphasized the importance of submitting comments after SDGE files its formal application with the CPUC. They also noted that comments may be submitted now, but should be resubmitted once the application is filed. After the application is filed, the CPUC will assign a docket number that should be referenced with your comments. In the meantime, comments may be submitted to the Public Advisor's Office using the webpage shown on this slide. The city had several questions that the CPUC suggested we follow up in an email, which we did in mid-June. The responses were procedural and general. These questions and answers are on our webpage. By the way, however, of interest, the CPUC acknowledged that since October of 2025, the CPUC has been engaged in a pre-filing consultation with SDGE. This is the first time being informed of this pre-filing. This pre-filing planning is a new process to streamline transmission permitting. For reference only, SDG&E's process timeline on this slide and the next does not share any information about the pre-filing planning occurred between SDG&E and the CPUC that began in October of last year. We can expect in-person open houses based on what we've been told by SDG&E. We suggest you check SDG&E's webpage periodically. It's our understanding these in-person open houses will begin in August. After the last City Council meeting, I sent an 8-page letter dated June 4th, 2026 to SDG&E and CalISO summarizing many of the concerns that were expressed during the May 26th meeting, to which SDG&E responded on June 30th. To date, specifics about the project remain unclear and unanswered. We also did not receive a response to my letter from CalISO. We are continuing to follow up as appropriate. On June 23rd, 2026, the County of Riverside Board of Supervisors unanimously shared serious concerns about the project, which is routed through the county as well as the city. Luke Watson, Assistant City Manager, myself, accompanied by Mayor Alexander and Councilmember Schwenk, we spoke in support of their concerns. Former Mayor Marianne Edwards was there as well, and she spoke in support as well. We thank our County Supervisor, Chuck Washington, for bringing this monumental project to the forefront. Together with his colleague, County Supervisor Karen Spiegel, we are grateful for the entire Board of Supervisors to take a unanimous position on this significant project and plan to work closely alongside the City of Temecula. We also thank our State Senate and Assembly representatives, neighboring jurisdictions, and many, many stakeholders. The city continues to receive several letters and resolutions, including from Temecula Valley Unified School District, whose elected representatives have raised significant concerns, especially with Vale Middle School, directly aligned with the creek. Also, CAL FIRE Local 2881, representing 1,400 firefighters, the Chamber of Commerce, the Wine Growers Association, Visit Temecula Valley. The list continues to grow and is published on our website. Stakeholders can send them to info@temeculaca.gov. On June 24th, at the city's request, city staff met with SDGE to obtain detailed maps of SDGE's proposed alignment through Temecula. They stated their maps are preliminary and marked confidential, so we created a map that shows the route as close as possible to their map. Essentially, it goes through Temecula Creek. SDGE has informed us their updated maps will be available when they host in-person open houses, which we understand will be next month in August. Additionally, they showed the same potential towers they shared during SDGE's virtual meetings in May, with no information as to which towers would be selected for the route through Temecula. These are their depictions. They also made reference to field surveys that we have all been hearing about, and this is a screenshot of their slide explaining the purpose of the field surveys. This is a screenshot of their slide. And another screenshot of their slide differentiating city-owned parcels in Temecula and private parcels adjacent to the creek. For reference, ownership of properties in the creek are primarily the Riverside County Flood Control. A few properties are owned by the city. To date, SDGE has not asked the city to conduct surveys on our city-owned property. I want to pause at this slide to recognize and acknowledge the yellow shirts, Temecula Safe, a group we have witnessed emerge from the community, and their voices have been heard and their efforts have been incredible. They have organized themselves in a very quick time frame. They've formed a nonprofit organization, and they've done a professional job of orchestrating their outreach and their research. The city of Temecula, as well as state and the county representatives and other organizations, were asked to attend and provide an update at their meeting of June 26th. The city advertised and attended the CPUC webinar. That webinar is recorded and is linked on the city's webpage. As mentioned, the City of Temecula's webpage is up and expanding every single day. If you have comments on the project, you can submit them for our public records about the project. If you have Temecula Creek photos or videos, including past fires in Temecula Creek, hot air balloons in and over Temecula Creek, wildlife activity in and near the creek, we encourage you. These may be useful. Feel free to submit them. We encourage everyone to follow us on social media, as we will post information and reminders as needed. We also encourage everyone to sign up for the City of Temecula's e-blast, as the city will email information and reminders as needed. Also, in case you're wondering, we branded using SDGE's photo from their fact sheet. We have 2 videos that include multiple city council members that we'd like to share here and get your approval tonight to publish via City of Temecula outreach methods. We'll start with the first video.
A plan to build a massive new high-voltage transmission line system connecting the Imperial Valley to San Diego and Orange counties is sparking outrage in Temecula. The proposal from San Diego Gas and Electric, or SDGE, would mean building a network of colossal utility towers stretching 140 miles. Temecula city leaders say the towers would run through or near Temecula Parkway, Temecula Creek, and the Santa Margarita River.
To SDGE, you don't want this fight. Temecula is going to stop you every single step of the way. We will drain your time, your money, and your energy. Don't do it.
Please, just leave us alone. You've got a fight on your hands, and you don't want to pick Temecula.
With council chambers packed with residents angry and concerned about how the new towers could impact their neighborhoods, Temecula city leaders grilled SDGE over transparency.
I can unequivocally say that this project creates a significant risk of fire within the community and the surrounding area. And I would love to hear why you think that's not the case.
These lines are almost never, ever the source of ignition or wildfire. Never.
Almost.
Okay, I'm gonna...
Almost never.
So we'd like to see what SDGE's original 153-mile route that did not go through the urban areas of Temecula as well as the other maps from the bidders that did not go through the urban area of our city. Would you by any chance have those today? I know that we had asked for them before.
I don't have copies of those in terms of with me.
Temecula is known as a hot air balloon community. So how in the world can hot air balloons exist with 200-foot towers of high power going through it?
How we can get informed, how we can take this complex puzzle and simplify it.
This issue extends beyond politics, ideology, or jurisdictional boundaries. It's about protecting the environments where our children learn, grow, and thrive. Parents throughout our community have expressed concerns about the project's proximity to schools and residential neighborhoods.
I am a Temecula resident and a member of Save Temecula, a community effort working to help residents become informed, engaged, and coordinated in response to the proposed Golden Pacific Powerlink project. As a parent and resident, my greatest concerns are safety, wildfire risk, and emergency evacuation. Temecula has already experienced the realities of wildfire, evacuation challenges, and increasingly dangerous fire conditions. Any infrastructure that could complicate emergency response, evacuation efforts, or access to schools deserves careful scrutiny.
No matter where you live in this town, it's going to be dangerous for our community. It's going to hurt our businesses. It's going to hurt tourism. It's going to hurt our kids.
This is a no-brainer. I mean, there's so much at stake here, and it's right here on the flyer where Save Temecula is spelling this out.
I'm excited to fight for the health and safety of your children with these God-forbidden towers that shouldn't be here.
The Southwest has much to protect environmentally, much that supports one of the more significant industries in the region, and that is tourism. And I believe this would have great impact on that industry, harm the communities.
I am a mother in this community. I have children here, and we are very, very concerned about this project.
The community showed up tonight, for sure. We really appreciate it.
Conference center was full. This center was full. Our city hall here, the patio was full. You showed up, and you showed up in force, and that's what Temecula residents do when they care about something.
This community will give you a run for your money unlike any other.
Important for me to give credit where credit's due. That video there was produced by the Save Temecula folks and did an outstanding job. Appreciate that. We have another very short video produced by the city of Temecula, one of probably many that will come our way in the near term. If we could, Jonathan, we could play this short video for disclosure. Second
A
video.
plan to build a massive new high voltage.
Is that all you guys care about? Your budget, your schedule risk, not about the people of our city? What about the health that we talked about, the schools, the businesses? Again, people over power lines every time.
You have selected one of the most environmentally insensitive routes, culturally insensitive routes, and community impactful routes imaginable. And we're all just sort of stunned. We can do better than that. We hope you do better than that. And we save all of ourselves a lot of time, money, and investment in something that just won't happen.
This is something that just can't be undone. And it's a huge scar on the landscape. And it's something that we're clearly going to fight with everything we've got, leverage all resources. This is something that most absolutely needs to stop. And we're here to stop it.
Pull up the slide real quick for me. This is on SDGE's website. Our values, the number one thing, do the right thing. Not the right thing, for your profits. Do the right things for the communities that you wish to traverse. And we will continue to fight to save Temecula.
Temecula is known as a hot air balloon community. So how in the world can hot air balloons exist with 200-foot towers of high power going through it? The Temecula Valley is too beautiful, too nice, too everything. So it's like, it's become part of our souls. Literally, if you live here, it's part of your soul. That being said, please move it.
So that short reel is planned for the City of Temecula operates a very robust social media platform. We have tens and tens and tens of thousands of followers, and we fully intend, now that we've vetted that in front of the City Council, that will be something that we will continue to use. Will there be more that I'll be bringing back to the City Council? Again, this is the first stop of many. And then finally, staff's recommendation is on the screen there. Adopt the resolution of opposition, approve the public outreach videos for publication, and provide staff direction as needed. And with that, Madam Mayor, myself and the team, this concludes our presentation. We're happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
All right, excellent presentation. Thank you very much, City Manager. All right, we're going to move on from that point to city council questions, public comments, and then motion and discussion. So next, I'd like to move into asking any of my colleagues if you guys have any questions for staff. Seeing as none, you did such a great job. We are now going to move into our public comments. Do we have any?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we do have several in-person comments, and at this time we have no one online that has raised their hand. If they would like to provide comments on this particular item, they are encouraged to raise their hand. The first in-person comment is John Enright, to be followed by Cheryl Conrad.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Mayor.
sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just a resident. I live in Red Hawk, and I've been a resident for 32 years of Temecula. We moved here from Chicago in 1994. Didn't know anything about Temecula. And like, I believe it was you, Stu, that said, it's beautiful. It's part of our soul, and it really is. So, you know, about a month ago or so, I found out about this, and I did through a letter that I saw Mr. Adams write. And I called the city, left a message. He called me back. And I had a brief conversation with him about the opposition from the city and all the things that were going on at the time. And I'll tell you what, everything that you folks have done, the presentation that was just made, indicates the kind of leadership you're all showing. And I just wanted to tell you that, Mr. Adams, thank you. And city council members, thank you as well. 32 years living here. And it's a lot different than Chicago, I can assure you of that. And for all the yellow shirted people back here, and you're doing great work. Everyone, this affects everyone in the city, every one of us. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I wanted to give you my opinion. This is the first council meeting I've ever attended in 32 years, but it won't be the last. Thank you.
Well, great to see you, and thank you for coming.
The next speaker is Cheryl Conrad, to be followed by Shal Renfro.
Thank you for coming, Cheryl.
Good afternoon. A little nervous. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, council members, citizens, sorry. I'm very against the Powerlink. We all care about the health, the fire safety, and overall community well-being. That being said, I know that SDGE is all about the money, and I'm suggesting that maybe we look into, sorry, I don't like being nervous, maybe defining eminent domain to maybe discourage them. And an example being that we maybe could suggest that for an electric company, that they would be imposed 2.5 times the appraised value for anybody that's affected, and even going maybe a step further in this definition of any property that is affected, that their value goes down, would have the option to force them to buy the property. I feel like if we really go after them with their stakeholders and really put some teeth in this to try and discourage them, that maybe they will decide to take this project to another location. That's it. Thank you.
You did great. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Shal Renfro, to be followed by Russell Shirley.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, thank you for putting forward today's resolution in opposition to SDGE's Powerlink. Thank you for the hard work that you are putting in every day and the various ways that you are showing up and demonstrating to our community, to SDGE, and to the decision makers that this proposal is not going through on your watch. I'm here today to represent Save Temecula, which exists to fight the Golden Pacific Powerlink and advocate for alternatives that protect our community. Save Temecula has filed as a 501c3 nonprofit as well as a 501c4 to give us the flexibility to engage as necessary in different aspects of education and advocacy. Over the past month, we have met with stakeholders, elected officials, regulatory experts, including people with decades at the California Public Utilities Commission, conservation groups, and impacted organizations and businesses within our community. In our role as a support to city, county, and other stakeholders who are fighting the Powerlink, there are two main avenues for Save Temecula's engagement. On the legal and regulatory side, as a party or intervener, and as a community mobilizer. Save Temecula has been preparing to seek party status in the CPUC proceeding so that we can fully participate in the regulatory process on behalf of our community. Our legal counsel will also help to recruit and vet the team of experts we will need for areas such as environmental review, transmission routing, and exploring alternatives. We will be representing the coalition's and residents' interests, including economic and environmental impacts, public safety, and transparency. We will be joined by other stakeholders who will also be acting as parties in the proceeding, including the City of Temecula. While we are preparing the legal and regulatory case as a party to the filing, we are also actively engaging with the community. These proceedings do not exist in a vacuum, and precedent shows that public engagement absolutely matters. Our coalition's volunteers have been actively working to inform the community and have already distributed thousands of our coalition flyers and have started a mapping project to track distribution. A crucial part of our community's opposition will be showing up at public meetings and forums where a community's voice can be heard. There will be a number of important opportunities for the public to engage, including ones that can get decision makers' attention, such as scoping meetings after the CPUC filing. We will make sure the public knows when these important meetings happen, and like we did at the May 26th City Council meeting, our community will show up to these in full force. We will also be encouraging the public to write targeted letters to decision makers, and will be strategically informing them of the when, the where, and the how during each step of the process. Our community has much at stake, with our severe wildfire risks, escalating insurance costs, hundreds of millions of dollars in potential property value impacts, environmentally and culturally sensitive lands, and $1 billion annually in tourism revenue. Save Temecula is fighting this battle alongside the city to win. And together, we will save Temecula.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Russell Shirley, to be followed by Mary McCulloch.
Thank you for coming up.
Thank you. Make this for tall people here. Good evening, Council. My name is Russell Shirley. I'm a local fireman and candidate for Temecula City Council District 5. I'm here tonight regarding the proposed SDGE transmission line to share some facts regarding political donations from interests connected to this project. It has been well established that SDGE has been attempting to build transmission infrastructure through our region on and off for roughly 25 years. First in 2001 with the Valley Rainbow Project and Sunrise Powerlink in the early 2000s. Residents have fought these proposals in the past, and now we find ourselves facing them again with the current Golden Pacific Powerlink. Over 80% of California's largest wildfires have been started by transmission lines, and as a firefighter, I have firsthand experience with the devastation caused by these events. Residents have legitimate concerns about fire risk as seen in the Eaton and Palisades fires. What makes this issue even more concerning is that Councilmember Swank has been accepting contributions from Sempra Energy, SDG&E's parent company, while these projects remained a known issue affecting our community. In fact, very few actual people donated to his campaign because the large majority, over 70%, were donations from special interests. Councilman Swank accepted SDG&E money in September of 2022, and then in the spring of 2023, California ISO identified and approved this project in his annual transmission plan. So this plan has been in the works for years and public knowledge. In addition, it raised some interesting questions given Councilman Swank's sudden public disagreement with this project. If the project was always going to be opposed, why accept money from interests connected to SDG&E in the first place? If no vote was ever influenced, doesn't the acceptance of these contributions send a message to corporate interests that Temecula's elected officials are open to receiving their money? Is it possible that by accepting this money, city officials like Councilman Swank have been inviting these transmission line projects that pillage our communities? Because from the public's perspective, the concern isn't only whether a donation changes a vote. The concern is whether those donations encourage corporations to believe they have access, influence, or a friendlier audience here at City Hall. But the public has every right to ask questions. Why are interests connected to SDG&E contributing to local campaigns? What did they hope to gain from those contributions? And why should residents simply ignore the appearance of a conflict when those same interests stand to benefit from government decisions? Public trust is not only lost when a bad vote is cast, sometimes it's lost the moment the check is accepted. Thank you.
The next speaker is Mary McCulloch, to be followed by David Cretin.
Can you say that one more time?
Mary McCulloch.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. It's my first time I've been here. I've never really heard about what's going on here until recently. Powerlink. My word is we're going to fight, and the word is fight. We will win this because we need everybody to come together in this, not just the City Council, people that live here. How many people know about this? Everybody needs to be aware of this. And how we're going to do it, we need to pass out these flyers everywhere because we need to stop this. So my last words are fight, and win. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words.
And the last speaker is Hunter McDonald.
Thank you for coming.
Sure. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and council members. I'm Hunter McDonald, speaking on behalf of San Diego County Supervisor Jim Desmond, who represents North County, San Diego. And we share your serious concerns with the Golden Pacific Powerlink project. In San Diego, the proposed route would cut through the Anza Borrego Desert State Park and our backcountry communities like Warner Springs and Ranchita before climbing up into the heart of Temecula. And we sympathize with the impacts you've identified that will affect your city. Increased wildfire risk, interference with emergency response, loss of scenic resources and harm to tourism, and your hot air balloons. Supervisor Desmond's concerns are aligned with yours. Communities in our region who face these impacts had no vote on this route. This is being pushed on us top-down by the state. We believe that all feasible alternatives must be fully evaluated under CEQA and NEPA, and no alternatives should be dismissed simply due to cost. So we stand with you, Supervisor Desmond stands with you in opposing the current alignment and in advocating for alternatives that protect both our backcountry and your community. Thanks for your leadership on this issue. You guys are like fired up here, and it's really great to see, and for the opportunity to express our position.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, we do have one last comment from Jean.
All righty. Thank you for being here.
Hey, good to see you, and you. Two questions. Did we ever get the alternative paths from the other four bidders? And we're still bugging them for that and fighting them for it? Okay. And then did we ever get a resolution on a mass mailing to the people, residents of the city with the opposition letter? Or like he said, everybody's not informed of this. Can we send out a letter? Will your legal department do that? Okay. To every resident? I mean, Brandon and I had talked about that. I don't think it's gone any further, but I think it'd show up in people's mailbox, make it bright red or yellow or whatever. So we'll make it look like a bill or a check so people will open it and have knowledge.
All right, we can't answer that right now, but I'll
Yeah.
see if our staff can answer
Okay,
that for you.
thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Madam Mayor, that concludes public comments in person and virtual. You can go ahead and proceed.
Okay, wonderful. Before we proceed on our end, city manager or attorney, sir, can you, either one of you, be able to speak to that?
No, it's a fair question. You know, we've been doing this a long time. We make a valiant effort to sort of try to get information, push information out to all 115,000 people that call this home. It is a difficult task. I will acknowledge that. Some of our best forms, I believe, are our current platforms that I mentioned previously. If you could help us get people to register their email address for the e-blast. Currently, I have about 60,000 people on that, or 60,000 households on that list. And I push out information every single month. I actually think that's probably more effective than putting a letter and postage in the mail and having folks kind of throw it away. So we're going to use our tools because we agree with you that we need to try to reach as many people as we can. We're going to need HOAs, we're going to need churches, we're going to need volunteers to help us get the word out. But platform-wise, I think we're going to lean heavily on social media. We're going to lean heavily on these meetings. We're going to lean heavily on video, and we'll do our best to sort of reach everybody. But it's going to take the entire city.
All right, thank you very much. So here we go. Next, we're going to open it up to council and for discussion and motion. I know we have a little bit of discussion. I'm sure some people do. Before we start that, would you guys mind if I just threw a quick little video in there of my little trip that I had this weekend? I know Mayor Pro Tem saw it. If we can just throw that on first. I have no idea if anybody else can hear this. I'm in Morro Bay. Beautiful sunset. But listen to those towers crackling. So again, I was in Morro Bay. I had a little vacation with my family and kind of got off route over the weekend. And I will tell you, from here all the way to San Luis Obispo, my first time ever up there, all I saw were power lines in every direction I looked at, and how hideous it looked. And when I was able to pull up into a neighborhood, that's what I saw, right next to houses. And I was so disgusted, because thinking about what they call the corona noise, that's what they call that noise, the crackling, I just learned that. That corona noise is what we are going to be hearing And just to give everybody an understanding, and it's kind of hard sometimes on video, but that actually was only, I believe it was a 260 power watt or kV, 230. So what we're hearing was only half of what is they want to implement into the middle of our city. And I know I don't live very far from there. I'm going to be able to see those towers. I know many of you are going to be at the same perspective, looking out your windows, your businesses, the schools as you're dropping your kids off. I think that's just unsat and just absolutely disgusting, especially for Temecula. And so I say that because I wanted to kind of do a little research and seeing, okay, how far out can we hear those? And we all know under dry conditions, which Temecula is pretty much under dry conditions. We've all established that. We know that living here. You're able to hear those power lines from possibly 0.6 to almost 1.9 miles. Again, 0.6, so about a little over half a mile to almost 2 miles away. I know I'm going to be able to hear that possibly from my porch, and I don't know how many of you. So we've discussed so much going on this last meeting. I know my colleagues have things to say. I know we've been saying it over and over. We are all so much on the same note, and I'm just grateful for hearing from my council members up here as one team with one voice. And we'll find out tonight, obviously, how that's going to go, but I'm very thankful, again, for Save Temecula, because we all are going to save Temecula. We are a force to be reckoned with, and they do not want to come into our city. So with that, I'm going to put a motion down to move forward with this resolution, but at the same time, I also want to open this up to my council members because I think they're a little fired up as well. So, Mayor Pro Tem, you want to start?
Sure. Well, I always happy to see Temecula show up when it's important, and you guys are doing an amazing job. I was honored to be, invited and able to speak to your group a little while ago at Wilson Creek. I think it's important that we keep the momentum up in the conversation because this isn't going away anytime soon. The interesting thing about this is this, and I mentioned this before, this isn't our first rodeo. Been down this path before with SDGE once before, and we've been down this path before with a large proposed quarry as well. Interestingly, in the latter, when we were dealing with the Liberty Quarry, and in the back of the council chambers here, in the glass there's a bunch of, I hate to say the word memorabilia, I don't know what else we'd call it, but memorabilia from those days. And, it took 7.5 years to shut that project down. And ultimately with the Pechanga tribe stepping in and just buying the property outright. The interesting thing about that, though, is, I was working with San Diego State University, which owns the ecological reserve where this was going to be going. City of Temecula was engaged in this process, Pechanga, and then back then it was Save Our Southwest Hills that was engaged as well. That collaboration lasted a very long time, but we all sat back very carefully saying, we are also going to wait for the environmental impact report to understand the full scale and scope of the project before we make a final determination on whether to oppose the projects, right? And then, of course, not surprisingly, the EIR comes out and, we understand the full scale and the potential and devastating impact that would have had forever on this community and the surrounding area. The interesting thing today, though, is we're not waiting for an EIR. We don't have to wait for an EIR. You can drive just down the way anywhere in California and see, even half of what is being proposed and recognize the devastation that it has to communities. You can look to Jurupa Valley, you can look to Chino Hills, you can look to some of the other projects that have been shut down in the last several years and either forced to underground lines or, completely move those lines as well to know that these are serious and detrimental long-term impacts to the community. So I'm just saying that in the context of how far as a jurisdiction we've come since, I don't know, when was that, 2006, 7, when that first was proposed? So, almost 20 years ago now. Looking at this from the perspective of let's just get in front of it now today, deal with it, and make no mistake on where we are as a community. So proud of this council and this city moving forward in that direction and not hesitating. A couple of other things, speaking of, politics and the interesting, it was brought up by one of the speakers on campaign contributions and so forth. I'm not confident, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I would assume that every major elected official from Jim Desmond's office in San Diego to Chuck Washington in Riverside to our Assemblywoman and our state senator have all received campaign contributions from the utility companies. It is not an uncommon thing. Where it is uncommon, however, is when that influences your decision-making. I will say unequivocally and without a doubt that every council member here, and I would just imagine that tonight's vote is going to go down as a 5-0, but I've been wrong before, but I can't imagine tonight I'm going to be, that every council member here unequivocally is opposed to this project. There is no hesitation on my end, and I would imagine no hesitation on anyone else's end, given any sort of contribution or thing that's happened in the past. So it's a little unfortunate because we're getting into the silly season of electioneering and all the stuff, and you'll probably see a lot more of that, over the next several months. But it's just disappointing because if you want to contribute to the conversation, let's contribute positively. Let's make sure that we have the opportunity to say the things that are important and the things that will actually devastate this project from moving forward. Fire risk is absolutely one of those items. It is without a doubt one of the biggest risks to California. In fact, the CPUC themselves have identified 500 kV lines as a significant risk. So moving forward on this project, I think we need to make sure that the messaging is very clear from the city side of what these impacts really are, how serious they are. And, I will say, for those of you who were at the last meeting and you saw, SDGE and their performance, on camera, I was a little shocked by the lack of professionalism and the amount of disrespect that was shown to a community on their first introduction to this city. I mean, that was just stunning to me to see, how poorly they performed. And if you're on a public relations campaign, that's probably not the best first step to have taken. Having said that, I think it's important that we keep the pressure on, we keep the dialogue open, and we keep asking the questions that are important. I think it's also very telling that we have not gotten the answers to the questions we have asked. And they're very simple. If they wanted to email over that plan that SDG&E put in their original bid that did not include the city of Temecula, they could send that in 30 seconds if they wanted to. Why would you hesitate to not send that to us? It makes no sense to me, although I understand it's all part of public relations and, strategy on their end. I get it. But I will say that as important as all of that is, as a city, we need to ask the tough questions. We need to hold them accountable. I'm glad to see that we've taken as aggressive a stance as we have, so far. I expect that to increase over time. We cannot do this without the community showing up and having that support because, we are all in this together. The one thing I would add to this list, though, after listening to some of the public comment, was simply the idea that, state law, how it works. The Constitution provides certain protections. It designates, the ability for states to have police powers, and that trickles down to local government and allows us to do ordinances and regulations and things to protect, the quality of life and public safety and infrastructure and so forth for our cities, right? I would be curious to see if maybe we could do a little bit deeper dive into, those areas that the state or federal government has not occupied, that we would not be necessarily in conflict with, that would provide a better level of protection for not just this project, but future projects for the city of Temecula to have a stronger voice. I know the assumption is that as the state of California, they just can come in and pave over whatever they want to and install lines wherever they want to. I reject that premise. I think there are opportunities for us to move forward in a positive direction to identify things that may be more protective of the city. And if not, then I see our representatives are here tonight as well, that we reach out to Assemblywoman Sanchez and Senator Ciardo to see if there is legislation that could protect these communities as well. We are not the only one in California dealing with this. And it is going to continue, and it has continued. And in fact, starting this year, new legislation was passed that actually make large-scale infrastructure projects even easier to get through the CPUC and this process. So the more we can do to kind of jump in front of that and say, hey, we get it. They've been laying the groundwork on this stuff for years. And I will just say one last thing about SDGE and end on this note, is that they have been extremely dishonest and providing a lot of misinformation throughout this entire process. But I have it on very good authority, just because we only started this conversation in April of this year, because we happened to find out about it and reach out to them. But I will say that here's a tidbit that I found kind of interesting. The project was announced August 29th, 2025, and certain tribal governments in San Diego were receiving information on that project by fall of last year. Right, so that communications and public relations and outreach effort started a long time ago, and knowing that this was the only major urban footprint where this project was going through, they never even bothered to contact us. We did the outreach after hearing about this in April. I think that is just absolutely appalling. And I just wanted to put it out there that, this is not a way for SDGE to treat this community, but they demonstrated exactly who they were at our last public hearing, so I don't expect much from them at this point. And I will second the motion.
All right, thank you very much. So we've got two. Anybody else want to speak? Brendan?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to add in that I'm looking forward to approving this resolution of opposition. I just want to first thank the city manager and your office. Everything that we have directed and asked of you since that original May meeting, you completed, and you completed with force. So thank you to you and your office and to our social media team for putting the information out there and letting our community know what's going on. As you've all seen, we are going to keep fighting this alongside the best legal team, alongside the best community that will be wearing a sea of yellow. We are going to keep fighting this, and we will keep fighting to save Temecula. And we're going to do it together. This council is unanimous in its opposition. This staff, this city, and you've seen all the local elected leaders and community members that are against this. We're going to fight this, and we're going to continue to fight this, and we won't stop until we save Temecula. So thank you all for being here. We're happy that we had this community to fight alongside of us, and we couldn't do it without you. That is all, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Councilwoman Kalfas. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Yeah, so just building off what my colleagues have already stated, there has never been an issue that I've seen the community or a council wrap their arms around with and say, hell no, we're going to stop this as quick as they have. Like, it just has not happened. And, I think the speed at which this did happen has a lot to do with relationships. And whether it's at the county level or whether it's at the assembly or the Senate level, or wherever that is, it's because of the relationships that we have, that we reach out, we connect. We've been busting our butts on this for the last bit, connecting with people, showing up, whether it's distributing flyers or making public comments. This council, while we're not all doing everything, we're all doing everything, if that sort of makes sense. And the community is as well. And it's a fascinating sort of like study of how a community can come together. So for me, there's a couple things. We should be mindful that this is a marathon, right? It's not a sprint. So let's, be strategic in how we're working. And as a city council and as city staff, we've been extremely strategic. I think you'll see that in other organizations and in tribal governments. I think you're going to see that, right? So there might not be something happening every second, but everyone's clearly working, to that end. I've never seen, Councilmember Kalfas, myself, we're out there making videos ASAP, hey, did you know about this, right? We're handing out flyers, yellow shirts everywhere. You guys are attending events, we're speaking at places. So to see this happen in real time has been quite fascinating. And then, my second thing is let's stay focused. Let's stay focused on what is at hand here. Because if we lose sight of that, we're going to see these towers in our community. And nobody wants that. So stay focused. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. You gotta all work together because this is unacceptable to have these towers in our community. We are going to defeat this, but again, we need to stay focused and defeat this as a team, and Team Temecula will win like we always do. All we do is win, as they say. So again, let's just stay focused and work hard. We're all in this together.
Very well said. Thank you very much for your comments. Best for last.
All right, well, I said it in the last meeting, really, it's the public involvement that's going to make the difference, because we are just 5 voices here, but when we add your voices to our voices, it's very loud and it's hard to put down. So I encourage you all to continue, keep doing what you're doing and encouraging other people to get involved with you. And I'll just do a little analogy, because I took a trip to China in 2019, and I was just amazed at the infrastructure that they had in place. But then when this whole thing took place, I thought, well, they don't have anybody telling them no. And so they put infrastructure wherever they want, no matter where it goes. And that's what I feel like the state of California is trying to do to us right now, is just put it where they feel like they want to put it. And it's like, no, you can't do that. We live in a democracy. We're all self-governing communities. And for them to just tell us, because they're the power establishment, they can do whatever they want. Well, no, they can't. And so, and as far as social media, I really do believe our city manager has it right. I think that is where we can make the most impact about getting this message out, is using social media, trying to come up with viral videos, anything that will draw attention. And we don't necessarily even have to have that large attention in Temecula, but if we can put the spotlight for the entire state on Temecula over this power line, that puts a lot of pressure on the governing body who's actually putting these power lines through. It's not San Diego Gas and Electric. They're just the builder of the project. They propose a totally different route, like Matt says, they won't disclose. And so no one's disclosing all the alternate routes that were proposed, just the one that went straight through Temecula. So that's what I'm encouraging everybody. Keep up the fight. Like it is going to be a marathon. I really feel that we're going to win. And so, but it's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of pressure. We got to put pressure on, not San Diego Gas and Electric. I keep saying that because it wasn't them who chose this route. So we need to put pressure on those government agencies that actually chose this route. And so, I agree. They came totally unprepared and basically did a song and dance and gave us nothing. But I really feel like as long as we keep up the pressure, and our local partners here, Pechanga has a huge investment in this too. So, I feel like we have a really good shot at this. So, but we got to keep up the pressure and don't let off the gas. We just got to keep going forward. So, that's it. Thanks. Huh? Who chose that route? CASA.
We'll connect right after. I know there's so much info, but yes. Okay, Stu, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Great words from the entire council. So there's a motion right now, but I believe it's important that we read the title of the resolution here, and then we're going to vote, which I think we all know what's going to be. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Temecula, California, opposing the Golden Pacific Powerlink project as currently proposed through the City of Temecula and Temecula Valley, making legislative findings, urging the evaluation of feasible alternatives, and directing city staff to take all lawful actions to protect the public health, safety, welfare, environment, and economic interest of the City of Temecula. Let's vote. I'm a yes. I got to get back to it. Yes for me. And that passes 5-0. All righty, again, thank you to everybody and your
Madam Mayor,
time.
that would include the other recommendation to approve the video and the outreach.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
I was directed. Okay. And to receive the videos as well. So, thank you.